What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's jump into some baseball scores from yesterday. Detroit beats Cleveland 6-2. Tampa shuts out Baltimore 3-0. Pittsburgh beats Colorado 2-0. You had the Yankees beat the Athletics 7-2. Kansas City beats the White Sox 12-5. White Sox continue to struggle. You had the Cubs lose to the Cardinals. St. Louis beats the Cubs 3-1. Cardinals are really struggling. That being said, that division is not good at all. Angels beat Houston 6-4. Arizona beats Miami 5-2. Texas beats Seattle 2-1. And Washington beats San Francisco 5-1. Take a look at the standings in MLB. Tampa continues to roll. They are 29-7 this year. Are absolutely rolling. They've only lost, I think, like a handful of games at home. Yeah, they're 19-3 at home at the Trop. They are absolutely rolling. Best team in baseball right now. You got Baltimore at 22-13. They're playing really good baseball right now. Then you got Toronto at 21-14. Boston at 21-15. They're playing really well. And the Yankees are at 19-17. Aren't playing great. Have a lot of injuries. Crazy that they're 2 games over 500 and they're in last place in their division. That AL East is loaded. The American League Central got Minnesota at 19-16. So if the Yankees were in the American League Central, they'd be a half game out of first. They're in last place for now. 10 games out of the division. That's crazy. Detroit at 16-18, playing a little bit better. Only 2.5 games out of that division. The division's not good. Cleveland at 16-19, not playing great so far. White Sox have been horrible at 12-24. I've talked about this before. Something's definitely wrong there. They have talent. They haven't been able to put it all together. Obviously, I'm not sure if maybe the manager change hasn't worked out or they're not getting enough pitching right now. And then Kansas City at 10-26. That's nothing that we didn't expect. We knew they'd be terrible. They can't really hit. Hitting's been horrible, and their pitching isn't that great either. You got in the ALS, Texas is in first in that division at 21-13. Don't still have DeGrom. Probably another couple weeks for him, but they're playing good baseball. Angels at 20-16. Houston 17-18. They have been great. They clearly have missed Justin Verlander. Of course, only made one start this year for the Mets, but if they had him and he was healthy, that would be a big boost. Seattle at 17-18 is not gotten off to a great start. And Oakland's at 8-28, the worst team in baseball. I don't know if they're trying anymore. National League East, Atlanta's at 24-11. They have the best record of the National League. They are rolling right now. But the Mets at 17-18. Of course, they are struggling right now. They've dealt with a lot of injuries as well. Miami at 17-19. Philly at 16-19. They have been great. Also didn't have Harper until about a week ago. We got back out a lot earlier than expected, but he's been out all year, obviously, and you lose Hoskins for the year. They've had some injuries, and you got Washington at 15-20. Washington hasn't been too bad, actually. 15-20 for them is actually pretty good. National League Central, Pittsburgh's at 21-15, slowing down a little bit, but they're overall been playing well. They're in first place. That's crazy. Milwaukee at 20-15, the Cubs at 17-18, Cincinnati at 14-20, St. Louis at 12-24. So they gotta fix the rotation. Their pitching is horrible. In the NOS, Dodgers at 21-15. They're playing well. They've gotten back into first place in that division. Arizona at 20-15. San Diego at 18-17. They haven't come out as hot as we thought. San Francisco 15-19, and Colorado 14-22. So that's what we got for baseball. Rest in peace to Vida Blue. I believe it was a day or two ago. Him is MLB starting pitcher. He's in the Hall of Fame. He passed away, so rest in peace to Vida Blue. On to hockey. Let's talk about the hockey playoffs. The Vegas Golden Knights beat the Edmonton Oilers last night, 5-1. Jonathan Marchand had 2 goals. Jake Eichel had a goal and 2 assists. Oilers goalie Lomprosot got hurt in the game. He, in the first period, about 13 or so minutes into the first period, he hurt himself. He stretched out his pad for the save, and as he brought his pad back into his body, he was in excruciating pain. He was down on the ice for a few minutes. He tried to walk it off, was not able to, and 2 of his teammates had to carry him to the bench. Head coach Bruce Cassidy said, he was getting his leg looked at. No update, but Aiden Hill finished the game. He actually played well, made 24 saves. Dave's obviously gets the win. They take game 3, go up 2-1 on Edmonton. Vegas' starting goalie for most of the year was Logan Thompson, who was an all-star this year, had a breakout season. He has not played since March 23rd because of a lower body injury. They haven't had him in a while. And then Lauren Brossoit, who's his backup, who had a pretty good year as the backup, he took over, has played pretty well this postseason. He's hurt. Now Aiden Hill, who has not played since like March 7th or something, he's been the minors a lot of the year. He stepped in last night and played well. Vegas had a lot of injuries to their goaltending this year. At one point, they won 4 games in a row with 4 different goalies. Also, you have Jonathan Quick, who after the Kings traded to Columbus, and then like a day later or a few hours later, Columbus swaps him to Vegas. He was the third string last night. He's now the de facto backup. He hasn't played in God knows how long. He's not very good anymore, but Aiden Hill may be the starting goalie now for the Vegas Golden Knights. So we'll see how Brossoit is. We'll see if Logan Thompson is close to coming back. We'll continue to monitor that, but Vegas goes up 2-1. This happens 3 days ago. Like I talked about, the Rangers fired head coach Gerard Gallant after 2 seasons. Obviously, Gallant, he took over last year. Last year did a really good job. Rangers were in the conference finals. It was against 6 to Tampa. He was a Jack Adams finalist. This year was good. They were top 5 in the East, but were lost in the first round to New Jersey. A really honestly pathetic performance in 4 of those 7 games. They won 5-1 door games that they won, but the other 4 games they scored no more than 2 goals. Not good enough. A change needed to be made. I know I'm a big Ranger fan. I'm fine with that. I wouldn't have minded giving him another year, but I did not like what he did this year. He changed the lines. It felt like every single game. That didn't make any sense to me. The kid line with Hito, Lafreniere, and Kakko worked really well last year. Was fantastic in the playoffs last year, and then he just completely went away with it. Basically, until the third period of Game 7 against New Jersey when they were down 2-0 and couldn't get anything going. I didn't really love what he did. That he's gone. Do the Rangers go next? Obviously, they definitely need to make some changes. You can't be as good as the Rangers are. Go all in at the trade deadline. Give up 2 draft picks for Patrick Kane. You give up a first rounder and more for Tarasenko and Nikola Mikola, and then losing the first round to a Dallas that is really good, but has not made the playoffs in over 10 years, and the Rangers on paper should have beaten. So he's gone. We'll see the Rangers go next. There's a lot of big name coaches out there. Daryl Sutter, more 2-time Stanley Cup champion, is out there. Bruce Boudreau, who obviously kind of got screwed over in Vancouver. He's been around a while. He is available. So there are certainly some big names that are out there. So we will see where the Rangers go next. And by the way, a fun fact, all 3 Jack Adams finalists from last year are gone. Last year, the 3 finalists for Jack Adams were the best head coach in hockey. That's given out every year. They have Andrew Brunette in Florida. He was the interim coach who took over when Joel Quenneville got fired, obviously for off the ice issues. Florida did not keep him full time. They went out and got Paul Maurice, former Winnipeg Jets coach. The Rangers just fired Gallant, and the guy who won it was Daryl Sutter, who Calgary just fired after Calgary missed the playoffs this year. So that's it's crazy how fast life hits you. Kind of like when Dwayne Casey won the Coach of the Year for Toronto, and then hours later was out of a job. In the NBA, I talked about, I think last week, of the last 4 NBA champions, 3 of them have fired their coaches outside of course, Steve Kerr, Golden State. Life hits you fast in professional sports. It is absolutely a business. And some more bad news, unfortunately. Gabriel Landeskog, the captain for Colorado Avalanche, who has not played since late June, just had knee surgery. He will miss all of next season. So that's an unfortunate break for the Colorado Avalanche, who of course were eliminated in the first round, surprisingly, by the Seattle Kraken. On to the NBA. Talk about the playoffs in the NBA. Miami Heat beat the New York Knicks 109-101. Jimmy Butler, 27 points, 6 assists, 10 rebounds, and a phenomenal game from Jimmy. Once they had 32 in a loss, the Knicks look dead. No one's shown up. Again, they struggled from three. They got completely out-rebounded. They gave up so many offensive rebounds, especially in the fourth quarter. They looked absolutely terrible. I didn't love Julius Randle after the game saying, while you got rebounds, he goes, maybe they just wanted more. I don't know. To me, that just seems like a player that's given up. And then you see RJ Barrett, who's only 22 years old, just basically said, we were good enough, we got to get better. And then Randall, who's 28, goes out and gives that weak response. That's not a good look. Randall's got to be better. He's been terrible this postseason. Obviously, he was abysmal in the first round 2 years ago against Atlanta. He has not been very good this postseason either. I didn't have quickly last night, but he hasn't been in the playoffs either. RJ's been inconsistent. Mitch, who was very good in the first round, has not been good this series. After that, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, no one's showing up really. In the first round against Cleveland, Mitch and Hartenstein were really good, and they outplayed the Cleveland's big, Sherrod Allen and Evan Mobley. But in this series, Mitch has really struggled against Bam Adebayo, and it's been a constant struggle. Quentin Grimes, another guy who hasn't shown up. I love Tibbs. I think he's a very good coach. And I overall think he's done a good job this year. But some of the things he was doing last night, I don't understand. Like late in that game, I know they weren't playing well. They were going to lose anyway. But you're within somewhat striking distance against Miami, and you have Deuce McBride in. And look, I like Deuce. I do. I'm glad he's in the rotation. I think he deserves to at least be in the rotation. But there's like two and a half minutes left, and you have Deuce McBride in. You're down 8-9 points. To me, it didn't make any sense. The next time, they were in foul trouble. I get it. The refereeing's been horrible in the series on both sides. Been horrible across the entire NBA this postseason. There's been a lot of calls that Knicks haven't gotten. I thought that they should have, and it's gone both ways. I thought in game one, I thought the Knicks, there was a few calls the Knicks didn't get. I thought in game two, actually, the Knicks Scott Foster gave him a couple. It was probably just because Scott Foster is an abysmal referee. Last night I thought the Knicks could have gotten a couple more calls, but you can't blame the refs. It's been every team's gotten screwed over by the referees a few times this postseason. It's been awful. What the Knicks need to hit more shots, need to grab some more rebounds, and not give up open threes. If you do those things, it didn't matter how many calls they didn't get. It wouldn't have mattered. They would have won the game. My issue and my frustration with the Knicks this series, look, they've had a great year. They've exceeded expectations. No matter what, I'm content with the season. Going into the year, I thought this team is barely better than they were last year. They'll be a playing team, lose in the first round, and it'll be same old Knicks probably. Obviously they were a lot better than expected, especially in the second. Had a phenomenal second half. Shout out to Leon Rose for signing Jalen Brunson, who's been amazing. Everything they could have asked for. Hartenstein was a steal. Trading for Josh Hart was an incredible move. He's had a much better offseason than last offseason, where he spent all the money on Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, which obviously completely backfired. And to the people saying they should play Derrick Rose and Fournier, you don't know what you're talking about. Rose has been out of the rotation since before Christmas. He can't shoot the ball anymore. His athleticism is gone. His burst is gone. And people don't remember. What made D Rose was like because of his raw athleticism and his burst. And that is completely gone. He showed earlier in the year that the athleticism is not there anymore. His burst is gone. He can't shoot anymore. He's a liability on defense. I don't like to crap on Derrick Rose. It's very unfortunate, all the injuries that he had. If he had never gotten hurt, I think he wins the ring in Chicago, and I think he goes into the Hall of Fame. But the fact of the matter is, he just had one too many injuries. He's a wonderful guy. Shout out to him. He's been saying some stuff, saying like how he's found value in being a really good teammate despite not playing. Shout out to him. And like I know people say, oh, they should buy him out. First of all, like you can't trade him. They just gave him. He makes like $10+ million a year. No one's gonna pay $10 million, $12 million a year for a guy who you don't even know it will crack your rotation. And because of his veteran leadership, I don't mind him staying on the team. Will he be on the team next year? Probably not. I think there's a good chance to buy him out in the offseason. But for this year, I didn't think, didn't have a problem. Fournier, maybe. Again, he makes almost $20 million a year. You're not trading that contract. He's old. He's got 2 years left, about 18, 19, 20 plus million a year. And buying him out, that's a whole mess. That's more of an offseason thing. Fournier, when he's on, we know he can shoot the three, but he showed this year he's not the same player. He's not a very good shooter anymore. He's never been good defensively. And I don't think he helps them at Knicks that much. Maybe Fournier over Rose because Fournier can shoot the three. But also he has barely played since December. How much is he really going to give you? I don't really think he would have helped. And he's a liability on defense. And the Knicks have had an issue with the perimeter defense a little bit this series. He would have worsened that. So I don't get why people were saying they should play Rose and Fournier. But the series might be over. I'm still holding out hope, of course, but the Knicks have looked awful. They have been horrendous when it comes to shooting the three ball. They have, for a team that's supposed to be one of the best rebounding teams in the league, they have not been good enough. They've given up too many open threes. Jimmy Butler's going to get his. No one's stopping Jimmy in the playoffs. He's probably the best player in the league right now. It's probably either him or Devin Booker. In Phoenix, definitely the best player in the Eastern Conference playoffs left, based off the way he's played this postseason. That being said, they're giving up threes to Kyle Lowry. They're giving up threes to Gabe Vincent. They're giving up threes to Duncan Robinson. And shout out to Kevin Love. Shout out to all these role players in Miami for stepping up. Been a big reason why Miami is a game away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Shout out to Eric Spoelstra for out-coaching Tom Thibodeau. But on the other end, the Knicks got to do a better job. You can't leave these guys open. Ben Adebayo did not have a great season. Was not good in the Milwaukee series, and he gave you 23 and 13. Mitchell's got to do a better job on him. They have to be better. Definitely have some work to do this series and even in the offseason, regardless of the result of the series. Lakers beat the Warriors 104-101. Anthony Davis 23-15 rebounds, also 3 steals. Lonnie Walker, first 3 quarters, had 0 shot attempts in 15 minutes played. He had 15 fourth quarter points. All of his points came in the fourth quarter. A big fourth quarter from him. Stephen Curry, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists, triple-double, but he was actually only 3 of 14, I believe, from 3, and he missed a deep 3 in the last 25 seconds or so. It was also good defense from Anthony Davis. He used his length to his advantage. Golden State did a lot of things wrong. First of all, so Steve Kerr starts Gary Payton. Okay. So, did a little bit of a change starting Gary Payton. But he plays 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. You got Lonnie Walker looks like freaking Kobe out there. He's just draining everything. And you put Moses Moody on him, who's a second-year player who barely plays 10, 15 minutes a game since he was drafted last year. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Gary Payton should have been on him. Would have made a difference, I don't know, but Payton is there to defend. Moses Moody is still a young player who's still developing. That didn't make any sense. I don't know what Draymond was doing on that play. You're down 3. You got what? 10, 15 seconds left. And, he drives to the baseline and does that horrible pass into triple coverage looking for Wiggins. Terrible play. I don't understand that. I know he was trying to trying to get the angle and kick it out, but you got to make a better pass. They had JJ Redick on First Take or it was Get Up. I think it was Get Up, yeah. And he was saying, he didn't think it was on Draymond, but Brian Windhorst thought it was an unforced error. I just think it was just it was not necessary. It was not the worst play I've ever seen, but that's the play that I could see if you had a young, inexperienced guy like Moses Moody doing that. But a guy like Draymond, who's won 4 championships, he's been with this Golden State Warriors team for a long time. He's a veteran, that cannot happen. I don't mind the Steph shot. If it was any other player, I would say, what are you doing? But Stephen Curry is the greatest three-point shooter of all time. He got the one knock on him. He did have a little bit of time, not much, but I think the play clock was about 22, 23 seconds. Remember, he also had a 7-foot defensive mastermind in Anthony Davis on him. So, also, Jordan Poole needs to wake up. Did not have a single basket last night. He was 0 of 4, only had 4 shot attempts the whole game. But Poole, you had 4 shot attempts the whole game. Come on, dude. First it was in game 1. He had that horrible shot. I don't know what he was thinking. Why is he have not had the ball, and why is Steph not have the ball? And now in game 4, when I need him, he puts up didn't have a single basket. Come on. And then Klay Thompson, what were you doing last night? Klay is a veteran. He's got 4 rings. Outside of Steph Curry, there's very few, if any, people who have been able to shoot the ball the way Klay Thompson has over a course of his career. And he had 2 shot attempts late in that game, were as bad as shots like that you could possibly have. Both were not even close to going in. I don't know what he was doing. Golden State made so many mistakes. Lakers were trying to give it to him. LeBron didn't do anything extraordinary. AD had 4 shot attempts the whole second half. Obviously, the role players. Reeves was okay, didn't do anything special. Lonnie Walker didn't show up to the 4th quarter. Hachimura didn't do anything special. Vanderbilt's only there for his defense. D'Lo was horrible last night. Even with Lonnie Walker scoring 15, he only lost by 3. He still could have won the game. The Lakers were handing you that game. You had a chance to go back to the Chase Center where for years they have been unbeatable at, and gotta be super confident. Chance to go series 2-2, and the Golden State just made so many mistakes. And now the Lakers are up 3 games to 1, and they're in the driver's seat. So that's the NBA playoffs. Bronny James, LeBron's eldest son, commits to USC. So that's some news there. We'll see how he does next year at USC, and we'll see. LeBron says he wants to play with Bronny. Will in 2 years from now, will he tell the Lakers you gotta draft Bronny, or trade me to wherever he goes? We shall see. And we'll talk about the Suns owner Matt Ishbia. Kudos to him for putting out a statement saying, he doesn't think anyone should have been punished. But thank God they did not spend Nikola Jokic. I know he's the owner. It's his basketball team. And he's a fan. He's a fan. When the ball's going out of bounds, why are you trying to grab it from Jokic? You cannot do that. And then I know Jokic forearmed him, but that was a first-class flop. He looked like freaking LeBron or Draymond out there. That was or Marcus Smart. That was a first-class flop. He's not forearming you that hard. Come on, dude. I bet you saw the video. It was like, damn, everyone caught my flops. And he put out that statement on Twitter. So stupid. They found Jokic $25K. I mean, for Jokic, that's also like 2 pennies, but I don't know if he should have done that. He didn't do anything wrong. As for football, we got the Colts cut Nick Foles. So former Super Bowl MVP has obviously had a very weird career. He's now a free agent again. Robert Saleh says Mekhi Becton will have to earn a left tackle starting job back. He'll have to compete for it. At this point, I tell him, all right. As of now, you're the right tackle, but if you show up out of shape, and if you're having trouble staying on the field, and if you don't look right in practice, we will go elsewhere. I mean, they already declined to 50 options. This is his last chance. Falcons side Trey Flowers, a veteran corner, gets some depth there on a 1-year deal. The NFL schedule, there was rumors it was going to be pushed back. It is coming out on Thursday. Keep an eye out for that. The Chiefs are opening up the season. They released the strength of schedule today. We'll get more on that tomorrow. There was a rumor that the Washington Commanders last year reached out to a former Colts retired quarterback Andrew Luck to play for them. Ursay tweeted out, if a team were to do that, that would be tampering because Andrew Luck is still under contract. If he were to unretire, the Colts would still he would still be under contract with Indianapolis for 3 years. So they would have to, if a team wants to talk to Locke about playing for them, they would have to reach out to Indianapolis, say, can we talk to him? And if they grant them permission, they can talk to him. And then if they both agree that Locke wants to join their team, then they wouldn't have to work out a trade to trade for him. That being said, Andrew Luck's rep says Washington never talked to him. So, I mean, the whole thing is like they can't. Washington can't talk to anybody. They can't talk to his agent, his PR guy, his nobody. So maybe they reached like his to some of his people, but they never got to his agent. Maybe, but Luck's agents said they never talked to us. But like Cam Newton, what is wrong with you? You said that his long hair is why he hasn't gotten another job. But, oh yeah, there's been undertones. You want to go back to the clean cut Cam in 2015? Well, that was different me. Dude, shut up. You're not getting a job because the last time you played, you couldn't throw the ball 3 yards. You had 8 touchdowns against 10 interceptions. Your last year at Carolina, even before he got hurt, you were horrible. The 1 year where he hurt his shoulder, second half of that year, he was terrible. Then the year after that, his last year in his first year in Carolina, he was horrible before he got hurt. He was atrocious in New England. That was painful watching him in New England. And his last stint in Carolina was awful. He has not gotten another job because he's awful and he can't play and his career is over and he's done and there's nothing left to give to this game. That was so dumb. Talk about a little bit of golf. Clark, I think his first name is Will Clark. He wins the Wells Fargo Championship at 19 under par. On Thursday, the AT&T Brian Nelson tournament starts, and then next Thursday is the PGA Championship. Which will be in Rochester, New York. In McKinney, Texas, is where the Brian Nelson tournament will take place at TPC Craig Ranch Golf Course. But before I wrap up, I want to talk about Backlash in the WWE, which was this past weekend. It was a really good show. The Raw Women's Championship was Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. Bianca won the match. That was an incredible match. But Bianca Belair retains the Raw Women's title. Seth Rollins against Omos. Seth Rollins won. This is actually a very good match. On paper, we thought it was going to be terrible. Everyone knows Omos is not very good. But shout out to Omos. I've been very critical of him. I don't think he's a very good wrestler. He's just big. But he was very good. This was probably his best match of his career. He looked as good as he ever has. Shout out to Seth Rollins for helping make that possible, and also shout out to Omos for looking as good as he has so far. So maybe this is a turning point for Omos. We'll see. So Seth Rollins wins that match. The United States Championship, triple threat, Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed. Theory retains. That was a pretty good match. Had some Bronson Reed showing off his athleticism. SmackDown Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley beats Zelina Vega. Vega, she had the flag out there with her, and she was actually very emotional with that, and that was the emotion as an actual emotion, not like scripted anything. I believe her father had just passed away, so that's why she was so emotional. I believe she's also from Puerto Rico. She's also part of LWO, which is all Ray and Vega and Escobar and all those guys. But Rhea Ripley retains, but they also got an anthem after the match. You saw her ring attire. It was a very good moment. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest in a San Juan street fight. Incredible match. Absolutely amazing. Bad Bunny picks up the win. Great match. You had a lot of interference. Carlito made his return for the first time in 8 years. The San Juan crowd where he's from absolutely erupted when he came out. One of the biggest pops that I've ever seen. San Juan crowd was great. Bad Bunny wins that match in the 6-man tag. The Bloodline, which is Sol Sikoa and the Usos, beat Matt Riddle, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn, but Sikoa almost, killed his brother Jay. So that's story I'm worth looking out for. This Bloodline storyline continues to get better. And then Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Cody Rhodes wins the match. Brock was bleeding for a lot of the match. That was planned, by the way. I know the ending wasn't great. It could have been better. But overall, I thought it was a really good match. I think the ending was as bad as people thought. It could have been a little better, but I didn't think it was terrible. And overall, it was a great match. It was a great pay-per-view. Shout out to the San Juan crowd. They were amazing. One of the best crowds the company's ever had. I hope that San Juan continues to get some wrestling events, at least do something every year like this. That would be something really cool. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.